There exists a realm beyond what your senses reveal, a dimension where the very fabric of reality responds to the quality of your attention. This invisible architecture surrounds you at every moment, waiting for your recognition. Science calls it the quantum field, an ocean of infinite potential from which all matter emerges and to which it returns. Ancient wisdom traditions knew this as the unified field of consciousness, the source from which all creation springs forth like waves upon an endless sea. Your thoughts are not merely chemical reactions firing across neural networks. They are creative forces that reach into this field of pure possibility and collapse probability waves into the concrete experiences of your life. When you truly understand this, everything changes. The boundary between inner and outer dissolves. The separation between observer and observed reveals itself as an illusion born of limited perception. Take a moment now to settle into the awareness of your breath. Feel the rhythm that connects you to life itself. Notice how each inhalation draws from the same atmosphere that has sustained countless beings before you, and each exhalation releases what no longer serves. This breath is your first teacher in understanding how the invisible becomes visible, how the formless takes form through the simple act of conscious participation. The quantum field operates according to principles that seem to defy common sense, yet they govern the deepest layers of reality. At the subatomic level, particles exist in a state of superposition, simultaneously everywhere and nowhere until the moment of observation. The act of looking, of bringing conscious attention to bear upon potential, determines what becomes actual. This is not philosophy, this is measurable, repeatable science that points to a profound truth. Consciousness is not produced by matter, but rather matter emerges from consciousness. Your body is not a fixed, solid structure as it appears to be. It is a dynamic pattern of energy and information, constantly exchanging with the environment around you. Every atom that comprises your physical form was forged in the nuclear furnace of ancient stars. You are literally made of stardust, temporarily organized into the magnificent symphony of awareness reading these words right now. The boundary where you end and the universe begins is a mental construct, not a physical reality. When you place your hand upon your heart and feel its steady rhythm, you are touching the edge of infinity. This heart that beats within you contains the same electromagnetic patterns that spiral through galaxies. The intelligence that coordinates the healing of a cut on your finger is the same intelligence that maintains the delicate dance of planets around stars. You are not separate from this cosmic intelligence. You are its local expression, its way of experiencing itself through human form. The illusion of separation runs deeper than most realize. It shapes not only how you see yourself in relation to others, but how you understand the very nature of mind and body. Work becomes a platform for expressing your unique gifts rather than merely earning money. Every encounter becomes a chance to see through the surface appearance of separation to the underlying unity that connects all beings. Your life becomes a living prayer, a continuous offering of your awakened presence to the healing and evolution of consciousness on this planet. You discover that you are not just a human being having occasional spiritual insights, but rather you are universal consciousness, enjoying the adventure of being temporarily human. This recognition transforms everything while changing nothing. The world appears the same, but you see it with completely new eyes. The awakened life is not a destination you arrive at, but a creative process that deepens and expands infinitely. Each moment offers fresh opportunities to embody higher consciousness more fully, to express divine intelligence more clearly, to serve the awakening of all beings more effectively. You become a unique instrument through which the universe explores its own infinite potential. This creative expression takes as many forms as there are awakened beings. Some serve through art that opens hearts and minds to deeper truths. Others contribute through healing that addresses suffering at its roots. Some teach through words, others through the silent transmission of their presence. The form matters less than the consciousness from which it emerges. When you create from the place of recognized wholeness, whatever you offer becomes a catalyst for awakening in others. Your very existence becomes a work of art, a masterpiece painted with the colors of moment-to-moment choices aligned with love rather than fear, wisdom rather than ignorance, service rather than selfishness. You realize that you came into this world not as an accident or as a separate being struggling for survival, but as consciousness itself choosing to experience the joy of rediscovering its own nature through human form. Place your hand on your heart one final time and feel the profound love that brought you into existence, that sustains you in every moment, that will embrace you when this particular incarnation completes its purpose. This love is not sentimental emotion, but the very fabric of reality itself, the intelligent force that organizes quantum particles into flowers, transforms starlight into human consciousness, and weaves individual awakenings into the collective enlightenment of our species. The invitation is always here in this eternal now to step more fully into who you truly are. Not the story the mind tells about itself, but the infinite awareness that witnesses all stories. Not the body that seems separate from other bodies, but the one consciousness that animates all forms. Not the person seeking transformation, but the changeless presence in which all transformation occurs. Your thoughts have always been creating the world around you, but now you can participate consciously in this process. You can align your mental and emotional energy with the highest possibilities for yourself and all beings. You can live as both fully human and fully divine, demonstrating that awakening is not an escape from life, but the full embrace of life from the deepest understanding of what you are. Test these truths not as beliefs to be accepted, but as hypotheses to be explored in the laboratory of your own experience. Pay attention to how your inner state influences your outer circumstances. Notice how conscious breathing immediately shifts your entire physiology. Observe how genuine love and gratitude naturally attract experiences that support your well-being. The universe is eager to confirm these principles for anyone willing to experiment with sincere curiosity. You are not separate from the mystery you seek to understand. You are the mystery celebrating its own infinite creativity through the magnificent adventure of being temporarily you. In this recognition lies not only personal liberation, but the key to planetary transformation as more and more beings awaken to their true nature and begin to create from that place of remembered wholeness. The world that emerges from such consciousness will be beyond anything the separate mind could imagine, yet as natural as breathing for those who have come home to themselves. Western science spent centuries believing that consciousness emerges from complex arrangements of matter, like software running on the hardware of the brain. Yet mounting evidence suggests the opposite. Matter emerges from consciousness, like waves arising from an ocean that was never disturbed. Consider for a moment the phenomenon of non-locality, demonstrated repeatedly in quantum experiments. Particles that have once interacted remain connected across any distance instantaneously. Change the spin of one particle, and its paired particle responds immediately, whether separated by inches or light years. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance, yet it points to a fundamental truth. Separation is an appearance, not a reality. At the deepest level, everything is one seamless whole. This same principle operates in your daily experience, though often below the threshold of awareness. The person you think of just before they call. The book that falls open to exactly the page you need to read. The sequence of events that seems too meaningful to be mere coincidence. These are not mysterious anomalies, but natural expressions of the connected universe expressing itself through the apparent separateness of individual experience. Breathe consciously now, and as you do, recognize that the air entering your lungs has traveled across continents and oceans. It has been breathed by forests and released by whales diving in distant seas. The oxygen molecules nourishing your cells at this moment have sustained countless forms of life throughout the history of this planet. In this single breath, you participate in the great conversation between all living beings, past and present. The observer and the observed are one field of awareness playing the cosmic game of seeming to forget its own unity. When you look upon a sunset, where does the beauty reside? In the sky or in your PT? Perception? The mystic knows there is no sky without perception, no perception without consciousness, and consciousness is the very ground of being from which both perceiver and perceived arise. Your thoughts are not confined to the space inside your skull. They ripple through the quantum field like stones thrown into still water. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every intention you hold sends waves of influence into the invisible matrix that connects all things. This is why the quality of your inner life matters so profoundly, not just for your own well-being, but for the well-being of the whole. The neuroscience of belief reveals how profoundly your thoughts shape your biological reality. When you believe something to be true, your brain begins to reorganize itself to match that belief. Neural pathways strengthen along the corridors of your dominant thoughts, while unused connections gradually fade away. This neuroplasticity means that your brain is constantly sculpting itself according to the patterns of your mental activity. But the influence of thought extends far beyond the nervous system. Your beliefs trigger cascades of biochemical changes throughout your body. When you hold thoughts of fear or anxiety, your adrenal glands release stress hormones that suppress immune function and increase inflammation. When you cultivate thoughts of gratitude and love, your heart rhythm becomes coherent, your nervous system relaxes, and healing accelerates throughout every system of your body. The emerging field of psychoneuroimmunology documents how thoughts become chemistry. Every emotion you experience is accompanied by the release of specific neuropeptides, information molecules that travel through your bloodstream and bind to receptor sites throughout your body. Your cells are literally eavesdropping on your thoughts, responding to your mental activity with precise biochemical adjustments. This means that depression is not just a mental state, but a physical condition involving inflammation and altered neurotransmitter production. Chronic anger doesn't just affect your mood, but increases your risk of heart disease. Persistent worry doesn't just create psychological distress, but disrupts digestive function and weakens immune responses. The mind and body are not separate entities in communication with each other. They are one seamless psychophysiological organism. Place your hand on your abdomen now and breathe deeply into this space. Notice how conscious breathing immediately begins to shift your internal state. This simple act engages the parasympathetic nervous system, triggering a cascade of healing responses throughout your body. Heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, digestive function improves, and the production of stress hormones decreases. Your thoughts directed your breath influenced your nervous system, and your nervous system orchestrated changes throughout your entire physiology. The placebo effect offers perhaps the most dramatic demonstration of how belief becomes biology. When patients believe they are receiving powerful medicine, their bodies often produce the very substances that the imagined medication would provide. Cancer patients given sugar pills have shown tumor regression. Parkinson's patients administered saline injections have demonstrated increased dopamine production. The mind's belief in healing literally becomes the healing itself. Yet this same mechanism operates in reverse when beliefs are limiting or fearful. The nocebo effect shows how negative expectations can create the very symptoms or complications that are anticipated. Tell someone they are likely to experience side effects from a medication, and many will develop those exact symptoms even when given an inert substance. Your beliefs about your health, your capabilities, and your future create a self-fulfilling prophecy written in the language of biology. Notice any areas of tension you might be carrying in your body right now. Perhaps your shoulders, your jaw, or the space between your eyebrows. Breathe into these areas with gentle awareness and feel how attention itself begins to soften what was contracted. This is not merely relaxation, this is consciousness engaging directly with the body's wisdom, demonstrating the immediate and intimate connection between awareness and physical experience. The implications of this mind-body unity extend to every aspect of health and healing. Chronic pain often persists long after tissue damage has healed because the brain has learned to generate pain signals as a protective mechanism. Through mindfulness practices that change the relationship to sensation, many people discover that their pain begins to dissolve as their neural patterns reorganize around new possibilities. Gene expression itself responds to your thoughts and experiences. The field of epigenetics reveals that your genes are not your destiny, but rather like a piano with 88 keys. Which genetic potentials become activated depends largely on environmental influences, including the internal environment created by your mental and emotional patterns. Meditation has been shown to upregulate genes associated with immune function while downregulating inflammatory pathways. Chronic stress activates genes linked to aging and disease, while practices that cultivate inner peace support genetic patterns associated with longevity and vitality. Conscious observation is the great alchemical process of existence. When you bring pure awareness to any experience, whether it be physical pain, emotional turbulence, or mental confusion, something mysterious occurs. The very act of witnessing begins to transform what is witnessed. This is not positive thinking or mental manipulation, but a fundamental property of consciousness itself. Awareness is inherently healing because it reconnects the fragmented aspects of experience with the wholeness from which they arise. When pain arises in your body, your first impulse might be to resist, to tighten around the sensation and wish it away. Yet when you learn to meet pain with curious, spacious awareness, something remarkable happens. The pain may not immediately disappear, but your relationship to it transforms completely. What felt solid and overwhelming begins to reveal itself as a flow of sensations, constantly changing, never quite the same from moment to moment. The suffering that comes from fighting the pain dissolves even when the physical sensation remains. Take a moment to scan your body with gentle attention. Notice any areas that feel tense, uncomfortable, or simply calling for awareness. Instead of trying to change these sensations, simply rest your attention there with friendly curiosity. Breathe into these areas as if your breath could carry the quality of acceptance and love. Feel how this conscious attention creates space around even difficult sensations, allowing them to exist without struggle. This alchemical process extends beyond physical discomfort to every area of human experience. When anxiety arises, the mind's tendency is to analyze, to figure out solutions, to escape into distraction. But anxiety met with pure awareness begins to reveal its essential nature as energy in motion. The trapped vitality that manifests as anxious thoughts and sensations begins to flow freely when it is no longer resisted or judged. What felt like an enemy becomes recognized as life force temporarily caught in patterns of contraction. The mystics understood that all suffering arises from a case of mistaken identity. You suffer not because difficult experiences arise, this is simply the nature of embodied existence, but because you believe yourself to be the temporary contents of experience rather than the aware space in which all experiences appear and dissolve. When you recognize yourself as the witnessing awareness, you discover that you are always free, regardless of what arises within the field of your experience. This shift in identity from the personal self to the witnessing awareness is perhaps the most profound healing available to human consciousness. It does not eliminate the human experience with its inevitable challenges and changes, but it provides an unshakable refuge that exists prior to all temporary conditions. You begin to live from the place that observes thoughts rather than being lost in them, that witnesses emotions without being overwhelmed by them, that experiences physical sensations without being defined by them. Your emotions are not merely personal reactions to circumstances, they are vibrational frequencies that serve as a bridge between the realm of thought and the world of manifest form. Every emotion carries a specific energetic signature that communicates with the quantum field, attracting experiences that match its frequency. This is why cultivating emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings, but about becoming conscious of the vibrational messages you are continuously broadcasting into the field of infinite potential. Fear vibrates at a low contractive frequency that tends to attract more of what you fear, not because the universe is punishing you, but because like attracts like in the realm of energy. When you are vibrating fear about financial security, you unconsciously make choices and perceive opportunities through the lens of scarcity. Your actions become tentative, your vision narrows, and you magnetize experiences that confirm your fearful expectations. Love, by contrast, vibrates at a high expansive frequency that opens you to possibilities that fear cannot perceive. When you approach life from a foundation of love for yourself, for others, for the mystery of existence itself, you naturally align with synchronicities, opportunities, and connections that support your highest good. This is not wishful thinking, but a practical application of the principle that consciousness and its emotional expressions shape the field of experience. Notice the quality of emotion present in your heart right now. Without trying to change anything, simply observe what you find there. Perhaps gratitude for the breath that sustains you, curiosity about what you are discovering in this exploration, or even resistance to these ideas. Whatever arises, breathe with it gently. Feel how emotions are not solid states, but flowing energies that arise and pass away, like weather patterns in the sky of your being. Each emotion serves as valuable information about your current relationship to life. Anger often signals that a boundary has been crossed or a value has been violated. Sadness frequently indicates that you are grieving something you have lost or never had. Joy emerges when you are aligned with your authentic nature and moving in harmony with life's flow. Rather than judging emotions as positive or negative, you can learn to read them as an internal guidance system that helps you navigate toward greater alignment and fulfillment. The key is learning to feel your emotions fully without being consumed by them. This requires developing what might be called emotional intelligence, the capacity to experience the full spectrum of human feeling while remaining rooted in the awareness that observes all emotional weather. When you can feel anger without becoming angry, sadness without drowning in sorrow, or fear without being paralyzed by anxiety, you have discovered the secret of emotional freedom. Breathe now into the center of your chest, that sacred space where emotions are felt most directly. As you breathe, imagine that you are creating space around whatever emotions might be present. Not pushing them away, not amplifying them, simply giving them room to exist within the vast spaciousness of your aware heart. Feel how this conscious breathing begins to harmonize your emotional field, bringing whatever is agitated back into balance. Your emotional state influences not only your personal experience, but ripples outward to affect everyone you encounter. When you enter a room filled with tension, you feel it immediately. When you spend time with someone who radiates peace and joy, their emotional field influences your own. This is because emotions are not confined to individual bodies, but exist as shared fields of energy that we all participate in, whether we realize it or not. This understanding carries profound responsibility. Every moment, through the quality of your emotional presence, you are contributing to the collective emotional atmosphere of humanity. When you choose to cultivate inner peace despite outer chaos, you become a beacon of stability that others can attune to. When you maintain an open heart in the face of judgment or criticism, you create space for others to discover their own capacity for love. Between every thought lies an infinite space pregnant with all possibilities. This gap, this pause in the mind's constant chatter, is the portal through which you access the quantum field of pure potential. Most people spend their entire lives so identified with the stream of mental activity that they never notice the silence from which all thoughts arise and into which they dissolve. Yet this silence is not empty. It is the fullness of being itself, the source and substance of everything that appears within consciousness. Meditation is simply the practice of learning to rest attention in this space between thoughts, not as an effort to stop thinking. Thoughts will continue to arise as naturally as clouds form in an empty sky, but as a recognition of the vast awareness in which all mental activity takes place. When you discover this space, you find that you are not the thinker of your thoughts, but the aware presence in which thinking occurs. Sit quietly now and observe the flow of your thoughts without engaging with their content. Notice how each thought arises from nowhere, exists for a moment, and then dissolves back into silence. Notice the space between one thought and the next. Even if this gap seems brief, it contains the entire universe in potential. This is the silence that existed before your first thought and will remain after your last breath. This is who you truly are beyond all the stories the mind tells about itself. In this silence, healing happens spontaneously. Not the healing of this or that particular symptom, but the fundamental healing of the split between observer and observed, between self and universe, between the individual wave and the infinite ocean. When you rest in this silence regularly, you begin to live from a place of profound peace that cannot be disturbed by the changing circumstances of life. The deeper you go into meditation, the more you realize that this silence is not separate from activity, but is the background against which all activity occurs. The thoughts, emotions, and sensations that arise during meditation are not obstacles to overcome, but expressions of the same awareness that observes them. Everything that appears in consciousness is consciousness itself, playing in the field of its own infinite creativity. Take 3 slow, conscious breaths now, allowing each exhale to release you more deeply into the present moment. Feel how this simple practice immediately connects you with the timeless presence that you are. This presence is always available, always here, always now, waiting patiently for your recognition beneath the surface activity of daily life. Intention is the organizing principle that shapes the quantum field according to your deepest desires and purposes. Unlike mere wanting or wishing, true intention arises from the silence between thoughts and carries the power to restructure reality itself. When your intention is aligned with the evolutionary impulse of the universe, what the ancient traditions call Dharma, it becomes a sacred geometry that organizes energy, information, and matter into the patterns necessary for its fulfillment. The difference between intention and desire lies in their source and quality. Desire often springs from a sense of lack, from the ego's belief that it needs something external to complete itself. Intention, by contrast, emerges from wholeness and seeks to express the fullness of being through manifest form. When you set intentions from this deeper place, they align naturally with the intelligence that orchestrates all of life, and the universe conspires to support their realization. Consider how intention operates in the natural world. An oak tree grows from an acorn not through struggle or effort, but through the unfolding of its inherent intelligence. The acorn contains within itself the complete blueprint for the mighty oak, its height, the pattern of its branches, the shape of its leaves. Similarly, when you align with your authentic purpose, you discover that the seeds of your greatest contribution already exist within you, waiting for the right conditions to unfold. Close your eyes and place your hand on your heart. From this sacred space, ask yourself what wants to emerge through your life. Not what you think you should want or what others expect of you, but what genuinely wishes to be born through your unique expression. Feel rather than think your way toward this answer. Notice what creates a sense of expansion in your chest, what brings a smile to your inner being, what feels like coming home to yourself. True intention carries a quality of surrender alongside focused purpose. You become crystal clear about your direction while remaining completely open to how that direction might manifest. This paradox, clarity with detachment, allows your intentions to unfold in ways that often exceed your imagination. When you are attached to specific outcomes, you limit the field of possibilities to what your mind can conceive. When you surrender the how while maintaining clarity about the what, you allow infinite intelligence to work through you. The practice of intention setting becomes a form of prayer, a communication with the deeper intelligence that governs all existence. You present your sincere desire to serve, to grow, to contribute, and then you listen for the response that comes through synchronicity, intuition, and the natural flow of circumstances. Your role is not to force or manipulate, but to remain alert to the guidance that emerges and to take inspired action when it arises. Breathe into your belly now, connecting with the creative power that resides in your core. Feel this area as a sacred vessel where intentions gestate like seeds in rich soil. What you focus on here with genuine love and commitment will inevitably find its way into manifestation, though often in forms more beautiful and meaningful than you could have planned. The greatest barrier to authentic manifestation is the persistent illusion that you exist as a separate self in need of protection, enhancement, or completion. This ego-based identity creates a filter through which all experience is interpreted, leading to the belief that happiness, security, and fulfillment must be obtained from sources outside yourself. Yet the separate self is nothing more than a collection of thoughts, memories, and identification patterns that have no independent existence. When you investigate this sense of being a separate individual, you discover something remarkable. The thoughts that seem to define you are constantly changing. The body you identify with is completely different at the cellular level than it was 7 years ago. The memories that create your sense of personal history are reconstructed differently each time you recall them. The emotions that feel so personal arise and pass away like weather patterns in an open sky. What remains constant through all these changes? What remains is the aware presence that witnesses all changing phenomena without being touched by any of it. This witnessing awareness is not personal. It does not belong to you. You belong to it. It is the same consciousness that looks through every pair of eyes, that dreams every dream, that experiences itself as the entire cosmos in an endless dance of forgetting and remembering its own infinite nature. Rest in this recognition now. Notice that the awareness reading these words is the same awareness that experiences every sensation, every thought, every emotion. This awareness is not located in your head or your heart or anywhere else in particular. It is the open space in which your entire experience unfolds. When you recognize yourself as this space rather than as any particular content within it, a profound shift occurs. You discover that you are not the person having a spiritual experience. You are the consciousness in which all experiences, spiritual and mundane, arise and dissolve. This shift from identification with the temporary contents of experience to recognition of the eternal context liberates you from the fundamental anxiety that drives most human suffering. You no longer need to protect or improve the separate self because you realize there never was a separate self to begin with. You exist as the very awareness that the ego was seeking to defend, the very peace it was trying to find, the very love it was attempting to obtain. From this foundation of recognized wholeness, life becomes an expression of celebration rather than a search for completion. You engage fully with the human experience while remaining rooted in the understanding that your essential nature is untouched by any temporary condition. Joy and sorrow, success and failure, health and illness all arise within the infinite space of your being without disturbing its fundamental peace. Living from the heart of infinity means making choices from this expanded identity rather than from the contracted perspective of the ego. Instead of asking, "What will this get me?" you begin to ask H. How can I serve? Instead of, "How can I be safe?" you inquire, "How can I be authentic?" The shift is subtle but revolutionary, transforming every relationship, every decision, every moment of your existence. When you live from this understanding, ordinary activities become sacred. Washing dishes becomes a meditation on the flow of water and the blessing of nourishment. Conversing with others becomes a recognition of the one consciousness speaking to itself through multiple forms. Even challenging situations become opportunities to practice remaining centered in the eye of the storm, demonstrating that peace is not dependent on external conditions. Breathe deeply and feel yourself resting in this infinite heart space. Notice how this identity feels different from the smaller self that worries about the future or regrets the past. This is your natural state, the home you never actually left but simply forgot how to recognize. From here, every action becomes a gift to the world because it expresses the love, wisdom, and creativity of the universe itself. The practical implications of living from infinity are profound. Relationships become opportunities for mutual awakening rather than transactions for getting needs met.